कृतण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषयविवरो निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं भङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो मयि ब्रह्मणदे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणे स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितं पुराणवनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीं वात्वनुसन्धतां भगवद्गीते वेद्वेषिणी नारायणपरो व्यक्तादण्डव्यक्तसंवमण्डस्यान्तस्विमे लोकास्तुतिभाषमेदिनी अवतीर्णश्च कालट्यामि गीतारीन्तरतश्चेषदस्पीठप्रतिष्ठाता चेता शङ्करो गुरु शङ्कारूपेण मच्चिद्धम् अङ्गीकृतमबोध्यः किङ्करीयससामाय शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये. Previously we were looking at 69th shloka. यानिशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. So when it is night for darkness for everybody else, it is day for him. It is he is awake. And when everybody is asleep, when it is darkness for everybody, he is when it is day for him, when it is light for him, when everybody sees something, he doesn't see those things. It is darkness for him, right? So this is literally could consider, as I said last time, it could be considered as somebody working applied to somebody working a night shift, but here it is talking about a sthita prajna, and that sthita prajna is someone who we looked at that he does not see these things what others see. Like, for example, we see this entire world as the reality, but he does not see those things. For him, it is all darkness. And similarly, he sees that Atmavastu and he sees that identity with that Paramatma, and for us, that is darkness. For everybody else, that is darkness. And he sees that when everybody is not seeing that. So, after explaining this, Shankaracharya in his Bhashya explains that this karma, these rights and duties, because of that person does not see anything. For him, the karma's rights and duties are not meant for that muni, that sthita prajna, right? So the karma is not meant for him, because once he reaches that stage, when that knowledge dawns, ignorance becomes eradicated, and at that time, he does not have any duties to perform. He does not have any karma to perform. And the man who has realized that Atma, there is eligibility only for renouncing all the actions and not engaging in the actions. And because he that has competence only for that Atma Jnana Nishta. And that's why he says that his only rights and duties are not applicable to him. So again, it is like seeing a dream that continues as long as one is not awakened, right? Because that error persists, that we are in a real world, we are thinking whatever we're seeing in the dream, we think that that's reality, but it is not reality till we actually realize the reality. So similarly here, we see this world as reality, but it is not actually real. That's what we looked at last time as well. And Sri Sureshwaracharya, Shankaracharya's disciple, Shishya, who became Sringeri Peter's first Acharya. Sri in his Vartika, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Vartika, he talks about the same thing. Right? So when that pure entity is realized, how can there be engrossments in the accessories of the action? So he asks the same question. So, and also he, in his Vartika again, he says that to the enlightened person, the one who has realized this, has this Atma Jnana, this world is like a night. It is like darkness, like a crow and owl. He compares crows and owls. So owl doesn't see in the daytime, but crow doesn't see in nighttime, and the opposite is true. So he talks about like that. So that's why seeing one who sees wrongly does not see the things as such, because the wrong vision is the consequence of not seeing the things as it is. And one who has the correct vision of the thing does not see the opposite way, because the non-perception of the thing as such, which is the cause of the wrong perception, is ablated by the correct perception of the thing. So when you know that what is truth, then you don't see the wrong things. So that's what it said. Similarly, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, for example, says that when there is something else, as it were, then one can see something. And similarly, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad again says, but when the knower of the Brahman, when to the knower of the Brahman everything has become Atma itself, then what should one see through what? So that question is asked in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So again, the Shrutis here speaks of the difference between knowledge and ajnana, avidya, ignorance. And for example, that which is day to a crow, which is blind at night, is a night to the owl, which is blind during the day. And that which is day to the owl, which sees in the night, is night indeed to the crow. Right? So like that, this is also a great wonder. So for a man who is having the knowledge of this reality, supreme reality, this Paramatma Tattva, Paramartha Darshana, the one who has that, how can there be usages of actions, because actions and its accessor, how can it be there? So which is the product of ignorance. The one who has this avidya, who has not realized, they only fit for karma, right? So we looked at karma nevadhikaraste. Previously we looked at that. So that's why here it says that the one, in the case of the one whose organs, whose senses are completely under control, there is no need for these rights and duties. That's what being said here. So for such a man of steady wisdom, the cessation of all the disturbances in his mind, they are also not there, because those things are not there for such man of steady wisdom. Now, what Bhagavan starts to explain in the next shloka, 70th shloka, he talks about the seventh attribute of this Sthita Prajna, the man of the perfect sage or the steady wisdom. So he explains that this subjugation of desire and personal self is an attribute of that perfect sage or Sthita Prajna. So here, Bhashya Sri Shankaracharya here explains that Vidusha taktaishanasya Sthitaprajnasya yatereva moksha praptihi natu asanyasinah kamakaminah. So the attainment of moksha is only for the sannyasi, the sannyasi who is the man of enlightenment and who has renounced all the desires, and the man of steady wisdom. So it is the attainment of moksha is only Sthita Prajnasya. Okay. So he says that, but not for him who has not renounced and desirous of objects. Okay, kamakaminah. So natu asanyasinah kamakaminah. So it is not for the one who is not renounced and who is desirous of the objects of senses. So again, moksha is attained by the only one who, after acquiring that intellectual knowledge of the Atma in general way, right, and is endowed with discrimination and detachment that has arisen above all the desires, and has become a Muni in the primary sense and has directly realized that Atma by going through the process of Shravana, Manana, and things like that, Vidhyasana and things like that. So, understanding those Upanishadic texts about the Atma, etc., so then only is attained those processes. Such being the case, with the view of establishing this with the help of an illustration, what Bhagavan does in the next shloka is here he explains that case here. Apuryamanam achala pradishtam samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sa shantimavapnoti na kamakamihi. The man attains peace into whom all desires enter in the same way as the water flows into the sea that remains unchanged, even when being filled up from all the sides. Not so the one who is desirous of objects. So here, apuryamanam means filled from all sides. Achala pradishta means undisturbed. Samudra means ocean or sea. Apha is water. Pravishanti is enter. Yadvat as. Tadvat means likewise. Kamaha means desires. Yam means whom. Pravishanti means enter. Sarve all. Swaha means that person. Shantim means peace. Apnoti means attains. Na means not. Kamakami means the one who strives to satisfy the desires. Now, here the explanation, the Bhashya from Sri Shankara Bhashya here says that man attains peace, the moksha, shantim moksham apnoti, sa shantim moksham apnoti. So that man attains the peace moksha into whom, that is into which person all the desires, that is in all the forms of desires, enter from all directions like the water entering into the sea without overwhelming him even in the presence of the objects. So they all vanquish in the Atma, that self. They do not bring it under their own influence in the same way as the water coming from all the sides flows into a sea that remains unchanged and that continues to be its own self without any change, even when filled up from all the sides with water. So this Muni, what we are saying here is, just as the manner in which, without causing any disturbance, the waters, even when originating from rainfall and various other sources, enters into a sea which is being filled up from all the rivers, okay, and that sea which remains unchanged, which does not exceed its limits, or that which is contains immovables, mountains, and various other things hidden inside it, thereby even shown immense depth in that, showing that it is of very deep depth. It has immense depth. In the same way, in that same very manner of not causing any disturbance, the man of steady wisdom, the Sthita Prajna, the sage, the Muni we are talking about here, who remains undisturbed, into him all the desired objects like sound, taste, and whatever, okay, all the desired objects, the Vishayas we looked at previously, which are normally sought by the unenlightened persons, all those objects, all the kamas, sarve kamaha. So all the desirable objects, they enter because it's unavoidable, right? Even for a perfect Sthita Prajna, sage, they also hear, they also see all these things. They also come across, touch, feel, sense, all the senses, their senses are not dead, the body, right? Just like the waters entering the ocean, this person also, he comes across all these uh, sensual things, okay, desirable objects, desire vishayas that enter him. But because of his prarabdha karma, they all enter. Okay, whether it may be pain, whether it may be happiness or whatever. Okay, so all these things enter, but they are unable to disturb his mind. Just like the ocean doesn't get disturbed by a flooded river entering it. Okay, or many rivers entering it. It does not get disturbed. Just like that, this sthita prajna, his mind, remains undisturbed. And he, that is the man of that steady wisdom, that sthita prajna, who is comparable to this vast ocean, attains through the power of knowledge shantim. He attains peace, that is the cessation of all the disturbances which are the consequence of the secular and sacred activities and so on, and also the cessation of the recurrence of the effects of ignorance, which are sublated by the arising of this knowledge, this realization. So, because of his avidya has disappeared, he does not get disturbed by any of these activities or any of these desirable objects that he comes across, which is unavoidable, right? So, even for that person, while his life remains, it is unavoidable for him. So he also comes across, but his mind remains steady. That's the meaning here. So again, here kaman plural is used. Normally, the kaman desires are mentioned or classified in three categories. So kamas. So one is vitteshana, that is related to money or wealth, and then lokeshana, expecting fame and things like that, they becoming rich in the community or the society or in the world or country, whatever it is. So that is expecting fame and those kind of things. And then the third one is putreshana, having continuation of the family, okay, children. So again, all these three types of desires, so that comes there. So they are do not make any impact on that person. Again, once, for example, vitteshana, wealth or money, where arthanam arjane dukkham. So when one has money, the pain one has to go through to earn those wealth, right? Arthanam arjane dukkham, and then arjitantam rakshane. So once one has accumulated that wealth, protecting it is a pain one has to go through, right? There is pain in that. Then aye dukkham, veye dukkham, digartha kashta samskrita. So again, while eating, protecting, spending everything with that wealth, there is no happiness. Okay, if you spend something, oh, I spent that much, I could have saved it this much. Okay, so it is always like that. So with wealth, there is no, and similarly, lokeshana, putreshana, all these things, the more time one spends in these kamas, these desires, he doesn't spend those times in thinking about the Atma Vishaya and this Vedanta and then trying to get that steady state. So that's why Sthita Prajna, once a person reaches that stage, he does not get attached to any of these things, and all these kamas go away. And similarly, we look at in Shivananda Lahiri, Shankaracharya's Shivananda Lahiri, for example, there is a shloka, Guhayam Gehe Va Bahirapi Vane Vadrishikare Jale Va Vano Va Vasatu Vasatehe Kim Vada Phalam Sada Yase Vantah Karanamapi Shambho Tavapade Stitam Chedyo Gosau Sacha Paramayogi Sacha Sukhi. So guhayam gehe bahirapi vane vadrishikare. So whether be it in cave or in house or outside or in the forest. Jale vavano va vasato vasatu vasatehe kim tada kim vada palam. So be it in top of uh, uh, whether it is in the mountain, be it in the water, be it in the fire, please tell what does it matter where he lives. So for this Sthita Prajna, it is like that, whether he is in the cave, whether it is in the house, whether it is outside, whether it is in the forest, whether it is on top of mountain or water or fire or whatever it doesn't matter. Because always in his inner mind rests on the feet of Shambhu. Sada yase vantha karanamapi Shambhota upade. Sthitam chedyogosau such a paramayogi, such a sukhi. So his inner mind always rests on that Shambhu, Parama Ishvara, and it is the yogi. He is the highest yogi. He is the greatest yogi, and he will be happy forever. So that's what said in the Shivananda Lahari, Shankaracharya says in the Shivananda Shloka. So the similar yogi is described here as well. So he is the one who is not attached to anything. So whether it is in guha yam geheba, so whether it is in the cave or house, it doesn't make any difference to him. So again, now we looked at the yogi. The part of the shloka here again explains that the other side, okay, not so other who is kamakami, the one who desires objects. So Sthita Prajna is like that ocean. When water is entering, it does not get disturbed by that. But it is not so for kamakami, the one desires of objects. Again, Shankaracharya explains kamakami as kamyanta iti kamaha vishayaha tan kamayitum shilam yasya sa kamakami. So that is, kama means the objects which are sought after, and the one who is given desire to them is kamakami. So kama is the objects which are sought after, and the one who gives his desire to them is kamakami. Those objects, one who desires those objects is kamakami. So here kamakami, the one who desires those kind of objects, whether it is house or children or money or whatever, that person, he is not like that. He is not like that ocean that's been compared. He is not that of steady mind. That is the idea implied here. The idea that's said here is that he is never attains that peace, because the Sthita Prajna is in peace even when all these desirable things he comes across, he is not disturbed by them. But on the other hand, Kamakami, he keeps moving from one to another, and he never attains peace. So the one who's desiring these objects, an ignorant person, does not attain peace, just as I explained, because he remains ever submerged in the ocean of miseries because of the disturbances resulting from those objects, secular and sacred activities. And that is the meaning of this sentence here. And again, we have to understand here that it's been stated by this here. Srimad Susan Saraswati explains that it's what here stated is the Vidva Sannyasa, the result of the knowledge that comes only to an enlightened person. And that him alone belongs to Jivan Mukti, that is the liberation or the moksha while he is still alive, which is in the form of cessation or the ending of these disturbances. And that in him there is freedom from this kind of disturbances, even while experiencing the objects through whatever that is prarabdha karma he is experiencing all these objects, he has freedom from them. So again, Vidvat Sannyasa I mentioned here. With the normally sannyasa, there are two types of sannyasa. One is Vividisha Sannyasa, another one is Vidvat Sannyasa. Vividisha is one who formally takes renunciation through the desire, by the desire of enlightenment. Okay, to attain that enlightenment takes sannyasa. And the Vidvat Sannyasa is another one where it naturally comes. Okay, we look at, for example, Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Swamiji, okay, Sringeri. So very engaged, he took sannyasa and like that. So people come from very engaged, they are going in that direction, and that's what we hear. Okay, so those are Vidvat Sannyasa. And the other one is Vividisha, where one takes sannyasa and goes, makes effort towards attaining that realization. So like this, so here what we heard is that kama kami, the one who desires objects, for that person there is no peace. And that's why Krishna says in the next shloka, he says in the 71st shloka, he explains that vihaya kamanya sarvan pumam charati nispraha nirmamo niharankaraha sa shanti madhigacchati. The man attains peace who, after rejecting all the desires, moves about free from hankering without the idea of me and mine and devoid of pride. So vihaya means giving up, kaman means material desires, yaha means who, sarvan means all, puman means a person, charati means lives, nispraha means free from hankering, nirmoha means without any sense of ownership, and nirahankara means without ego, and saha means that person, shanti means the perfect peace. Here talked about peace. Adhigacchati means attains. So again, that man who has become thus like this, the sannyasi who has steady wisdom, the knower of Brahman, the Atma Jnana Nishta, we use different terms, all of them talking about that perfect Muni, sage. He attains Shanti, called Nirvana, consisting of ending, cessation of all the sorrows of the samsara. That is, he becomes one with Brahman itself. Samsara dukkho paramalakshanam nirvanakyam adhigacchati prapnoti brahmabhuto bhavati. So he attains that peace called nirvana, and he becomes one with Brahman itself. And who is that person? Who, after rejecting all the kaman, all the desires without a trace, fully he rejects all of them, and charati moves about, that is, wanders about, making an effort only for the maintaining of the body. Only for maintaining his body he moves about, and he rejects all the desires. So, and he rejects all those things, and then nispraha, so free from hankering, becoming free from any longing, even for maintenance of the body. So nispraha sharira jivana matrepi nirgata spraha yasya saha nispraha san. So he is, even for maintaining the body, he does not have any hankering, any attachment. Okay, so even for food, for example, daily food or staying or whatever it is, he does not have it. And nirmamaha, so without the idea of me and mine, and without a deep-rooted idea of mine, even when accepting something needed merely to keep upkeep of his body, he does not think that this is mine. Okay. So nirmamaha sharira jivana matrakshipta parigrahepi mamade amedam ityapabhi nivesha varjita. So he's, even for the upkeep of the body, when accepting something, he does not think this is mine. Idea of mine is not there. And then he is also nirahankara, devoid of pride, that is free from self-esteem, going into learning and so on. So he does not have any of that ahankara. Nirahankara vidyavattvadi nimittatma sambhava rahita ityetat. So he is devoid of those pride and those things. So again, we look at here word charati coming here, right? So charati is used, excuse me, charati is used as a response to one of the Arjuna's questions, if you remember, kim gajate, right? How does he move? So Charati here, he talks about that person here moves, that is, he experiences the objects of enjoyment as a result of his prarabdha karma, or goes to whatever the place that it may come to happen. He moves about like that after rejecting, being indifferent to, even when they present themselves, all the enjoyable things of the three kinds, that is external such as housewife and things like that, and the internal things, that is in the form of daydreaming and in the form of mere hankering, which are like constant, uh, which are like in contact with grass, for one walking on the path and so on, and free from hankering, having no choice even with regard to his body and life, and who is since devoid of pride, nirhankara, devoid of self-identification in the form of I am this with regard to body, organs, so on, or he is also devoid of self-esteem that results from his scholarship, his wealth, or whatever. Okay, so those, therefore, nirmamaha, he is without the idea of mine, that is without the idea of egoism in the form of this is mine, with regard to even a piece of cloth he is wearing, or the covering for this body, or whatever, which are meant for mere maintenance of his body. All those things that comes his way through prarabdha karma, he does not think that these are mine. And such a person, he that of that steady wisdom attains through the power of that knowledge, power of that jnana, he attains peace. That is the eradication of the ignorance and its effects in the form of cessation of the sorrows of the samsara. Thus, by pointing out that the movement of this man, of this sthita prajna of this kind, the answer to the fourth question also is answered by this shloka here. Now, like this, under the guise of answering the four questions that Arjuna has asked, okay, ka bhasha and so on, what is the description of him, how does he sit, how does he move, and all those kind of things, how does he speak, and things like that. All the characteristics of that sthita prajna has been so far narrated by the Bhagavan. And those who are desiring, seeking moksha, they should practice these things, these attributes. They should try to have these attributes. That's what Bhagavan is saying here. So now, Bhagavan concludes this discussion with saying that jnana, knowledge, leads to divine felicity. So he concludes by praising the adherence or devotion in knowledge, which is, he says that in the next shloka, which is the 72nd shloka, and also the last shloka in this Sankhya Yoga. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapta Vimuhyati Stitva Samanta Kalepi Brahma Nirvanam Vrachyati. O Partha, in this state of being established in Brahman, one does not become deluded after attaining this. One attains identification with Brahman by being established in the state, even when in the closing years of one's life. So, Esha means such, Brahmi Sthiti means the state of realization, Brahman realization. Partha is addressing Arjuna, son of Pritha. Na means never, Ena means this, Prapya means having attained, Vimuhyati means is deluded, Stitva means being established, Asya means in this, Antakale means at the hour of death or closing stages of life. Api means even, Brahma Nirvana means moksha from this Maya, that is becoming oneness with Brahma. Richati means attains. So we'll quickly look at this, and then if needed we'll continue next time. He addresses, O Partha, this That means whatever has been said up to now. So it is again concluding all this discussion here. He says that this, whatever has been said up to now, is Brahmasthiti, is the state of being established in Brahma, that is the continuing in life, in identification with Brahma after renouncing all the actions. So the life continues, the living continues, but he identifies himself with Brahman. One does not become deluded after attaining this. Okay, after attaining this, one does not become deluded. Now vimuchyate. Now vimuhyati. So one does not become deluded after attaining this, and this one attains Brahma Nirvanam. This one attains identification with Brahma, that is moksha, by being established in the state of Brahma Nirvana, as just said, even in the closing years of one's life. So anta kalepi ante vayasyapi. So here again, in the closing years of one's life. So even in that stage, he remains like that. So again, this steadfastness or the adherence which has been stated under so far, right, since the 39th shloka, where we looked at this knowledge is about Atma has been imparted to you from that point of onwards, right, which has been stated already, which we looked at previously, and consists of the knowledge of that Paramatma Tattva, Paramatma Darshana, which I have told you by, which is prescribed by renunciation of all the actions, Karma Yoga. Brahmi relates to Brahman. So that relates to Brahman. O Partha, by attaining this steadfastness, this adherence, one who attains this does not become deluded again. And indeed, there can be no recurrence of avidya, which has been destroyed by this knowledge that has arisen, and such a person has, by continuing in that state, even in the closing years of life, one attains Brahma Nirvana, the final identification with Brahma. So again, Nirvana is moksha. Again, Madhusudan Saraswati explains the Nirgatam Vanam Yasmin Gamanam Yasmin Prapye Brahmani Nirgatam. So Vana here is again means Gamanam, the journey of birth and death. So he is even before this also he was in this journey, but now he is without any attachment to this birth and death, and that's why he becomes part of Brahman himself. Similarly, Sri Sridhara Swami also in his Bhashya explains that one becomes part of Brahma. This Brahma Nirvana is explained as one becomes part of Brahma Nirvana. And another commentary, for example, in Swami Shivananda in his commentary explains, quotes Maharishi Vidyaranya. He quotes Vidyaranya's Panchadashi, that Antakala here means that the moment at which avidya, or the mutual superimposition of Atma and Anatma, comes to an end. So that's the Anta. So and that's how different Bhashyas explained here Antakala and Brahma Nirvana. The word again here used, api, is used. So again, it goes to without here that one who even after taking this sannyasa, renunciation from the stage of brahmacharya and so on, he continues throughout his life in that steadfastness which relates to Brahman and attains the highest state in Brahman itself. So that's why Shankaracharya concludes saying that what it need to be said, that one who remains established only in Brahman during the whole life, after giving up, after espoused monasticism, even from the stage of celibacy, brahmacharya, he attains identification with Brahman, the Brahma Nirmanam. So We'll look at again a little bit on this shloka and conclude this Sankhya Yoga next time when we gather.